Mrs. Gallagher is in jail exactly 2 weeks today for refusing to comply with the court order to build a 6-foot-high wall between her house and that of her neighbours, the Masterson family.
Bín faiban agus bín deachreachtaí a gcónaí idir chóirsan, ach ní chríochnainn siad I gás na cuairte agus ní chríochnainn siad go háirithe I brisún.
Thosa an scéal seo imilga ba chuire I gunda bhuio go luas na néchadaí. Tharla sé gur burt córsan I nairce chéile feadh 8 mbliana. Tá cúnaí chlán Amháin, chlán Gallagher híomh na láimh deise, agus cúnaí an drámeile, chlán Masterson híomh na láimh clé, agus tá gnó B&B acu chomá. Maidir lena gcórsan maire, go mí enmhí agus éon a chuine sí sa gárdín béal doris.
Bhí si mar charactéir anseo an Ilan, bhí si crua agus bhí si physicúil, ben láidir a bhí in si freisin, agus an nói bhí an spéisici vermorach, bhí chulasáis in liéice, bhí sicineci, bhí colacheci, bhí lachaneci, agus beléir nach rá an chórsan Peter Masterson sásta go rá an sin cearc eci, agus sesin an gardaí. Bhí deachreachtaí an tús, rudí baga a bhí annig an tús an nóil, bhí colach eici, agus bhí an colach I duliste hala Peter Masterson, bhí an colach an glórach, agus bhí sé déanamh an túfas trip cholahaidean, bhí customéirí ar nóid bhí B&B ag Masterson, agus dear sesin go rá an colach agus na cearc eile a chuiriste ar customéirí.
Hacha macmhaire Tommy lena bhóthir, tuairimíocht go na córsan róghullanach faoin ábhar.
Yeah, the crow about 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, but they're not noisy. Like it's not as if like you just jump out of your bed or say, "Oh my God, what's that?" Like it's just cuileach crowing like.
I ní digna híon thosa maire agus a chlán thógáil sí na mór chuairlatí, ach chur a gcuid córsan ina chunne. Go háirithe tuiscnar frío cad omlán pleanala an géad lá. Bhí chlán Masterson buartha gomach na córsan ag féchant isteacharú. Ach, tharla bulla na tubaiste, nuair a bhain maire iníos cud gon sconsa Rhododendron, a bhí mar chríoch idir an dá híomh.
And what kind of a hedge was it? Why did you have to
big
put it
wild
down?
forest, like the hedge next door. The one next door is no better. Keep the sun away in the morning and all that. Big trees, you know, that is growing there. So I cut them all down.
Ach, ní scéal faoi chuileach a bhí an seo dá riire, ach achrann faoi cheorann agus faltas.
The dispute between the two families over the wall to replace the chopped-down hedge is still unresolved, and the neighbours weren't talking to us or to her. So far tonight, there's no sign of a breakthrough in the legal row over the rhododendrons and the rooster.
Scéal ulmhór a bhí an in iad nach sé nuair a chríochnaigh sé sa cuairt. Ní raibh aine súil go dtarlóg sé sin riamh, mar scéal áitiúil bag a bhí annig an tús. Inis bhí chulaganna ag díreair, bhí an pobal áitiúla ag díreair, bhí an pobal náisiúnta ag díreair, mar déta sé tarlú in éonáid sa tír.
Cantálaí lonithe a gonamara is sé Frank Conroy. Creideann sé hain gur a dul iméid a bheith coiblinsaí go bhfuir tuaireannacha le himimecht ama.
Tá ní bhán rudaí faoi tuaireannacha in á síals ag go minic, mar tá an tábhachta go deo nuair a díalta talamh caiith na tuaireannacha bheith críne agus ceart agus náitin borthóil na bheith, muna míon bíon tribhlóid an mar déanamh. Bhí an daoine sásta gáil bhaid I drí go minic mar dheala tuaireannacha, mar tá níl sam céan fá ach tá rud a talamh agus tá daoine go dúireachta faoi nach mín siad sásta fiúbháin trach ceann a chóir tús gan tréid. Agus má hen sé a fadiil lí sin a hálinn go minic. Agus bíon an réithim sacrúí anú ar rud. Agus ní bhíon deidir scéal sin go minic, bíon achrann na sin a díos dá.
Sa chóirt, tharla sé go rá Masterson I garan nach rá an balla cosanta tócaí agus go rá an colach fós a chuiristeathir. Ní rá mai Gallagher sásta an sconsa a hóigeal, ní rá sí sásta fáilré leis an pata bhíaici, an colach, glórach, agus an nói ní rá sí sásta an fíneal a ig. Deir sí go rá principal I gceist, Jersey goni nach ra rudabe as balach genta eki agus ein rud a bhí genta Jersey ras genta ar a dalach hen. Chor sé intas ar gach aine go chríochna sí I brísin caicísa.
Ach, ní héin rud nua achran is chórsan, agus ní cuasaí talú nús do go gúnaí ba chúis leis an ainas.
Stoi gebeen de Chanamshire goed dat die in dispute gaan niet meer aan voor. De Chanamshire ben dispute family in dispute is massa. We nemen aan richten nog hier maar je jaso tafel fatias feras geweges marchen je. Ik stoi ben heel vaak meer dispute family is massa in dispute tellen. Maar de wijze bij jammer wie skiën nu corona de speler pieken. Maar is eigenlijk de dame die goede armatje die voor de goede.
Wel mo gasú chiúin was an choppa go faoin agus decin an tamsin ó cloch na tórin, right? A cloch tórin I bhín sin gur á scoilte be gona nó gur á crap ó gaiile bar ó lár báide a leanach sí sa ríist gur á chlocha fuidir sí ar fad go bine an áit nach bhé a níos fuide má bhí trá wathe. Agus sin áit a gatha chuineál tíhústíir go na boundary má deir siad an gháingail go fad ó hart an seo. Nis, cloch na tórin an seo a chlochain mar ekins tú, bheith an tóirní tasín sin níag tasach so bheith tron an ghó be amúnead go bhaintá sin sin agus marcha sin níos ham nach chuide má jaí go comachman a chuine sé sin má go leor me réad chuid. Bhí chuí rá bhú de búne fórite a bhí sé an siún ar fad. Béidir go de a ddíirí déna a bhid sé sin beidir rint femin nó thóg sé rint fuocha nó bhain sé rint barne hí san sin mo chláadachsa. Agus sé dhéana tamsin aber mar amach bó go nach go leor baine cin bódach a míach má dearcha, ní siúraí budeal baine sin, guntéis sin, a gíiri sin nó saoire sin, nó bé nach siúraí candarán ó a bortach nach sé hén gáin. Má bhí spait family gist, ba spait a bhíán, dus ní ba spait a go muna duine. Ach níos ba spait a go bhí mór an eso, ach ní siúr a mór an ghó, ach ní chuir a mór an ághá a legin. Sin ach íhiste.
Tá cúnaí ar chláán don is síomh ídalach ildete a mála britáise gun de líise. Bhíad ar páirteach a scéal a bhí dramatúil, lá le cublins agus cásan na cuirte.
Nuair a bhfuil mé le Jimmy Don agus an chláán nuair bhí mé déanamh an scéal faoi riselum chaithmé rá ag pointe bháin go raibh sé mar character beaganín cosú le Richard Harris is gan an sin the field. Is character ar le linn sin héin a bhí an agus is character é dheoch ach Jackrocht búla leis na húdaráis ó híomh cuasaí mar seo. Ní fearr é go dagan córéiteach go héasca leis agus bheith pléile daoine noficí go héasca leis agus ceapan dó thir sin gur léir go rudaí go duna dó fiú mar rá sé géirí go raach siad mar sin.
Tá cúnaí ar chláán atá gaolta le Jimmy sa teachbéal doris, agus bé Jimmy a dhéal an siomhló rins bliantóchaid. Thógadúir balla blochanna atrú a chríochna thart ar ghábhéidir déag ón bóthir. Nuair a thóg Jimmy sconsa mór ámuid chun an bearna seo a léana chun na córsan in na chunne.
So there was trees all along here?
What did it say? Didn't say that. They did say that. Trees were all in and out. Right. The forest and that one. The whole way around, trees were the whole there.
Right. And then the fence that you built so that caused all the trouble, the 8-foot fence, that was built further down, was it?
The fence, the height built caused all the trouble. That's a man. Told you that.
Ní ra aon chead pleanala ag Jimmy don sconsa mór ámuid, ach níor cheapse go mecha in aibeige. Ag a tús cheapse gur a cuma lombar an sconsa, mar sin dá sé rós in i drápaí. A cégur ó roiach 10 ar a híomh héin an sconsa, níor bholaí sin ar an tíomh eile. Chur sé easta chórsan a chua eile a cabhrach ón gcomharla conde.
It wasn't an eyesore from Jimmy and his family's point of view, but from other people's point of view, it was an eyesore. And the wall itself was dangerous, and the fence as such was dangerous as well. And that needed to be addressed.
I'm not saying them county councillors, some of them retired, some of them's not that, but some of them is at a bit that, not them all. But that's where it is, like, county council gets loggerheads to step this way. That won't work out. Just talk it over have a chat over the Stephanie, and then peace for everyone.
Actually, we went there twice, spoke at length, and the matter wasn't resolved.
What kind of opportunities was Jimmy given?
Every opportunity under the sun. Every opportunity he was given. You know, but Jimmy, you know, he just thought that what he didn't do any wrong. He couldn't see any wrong being done.
A tháinig Jimmy Salach an effig pleanala, teis gur dúilteas ag dangan an sconsa ó bhaint nuas. Deire fágó faoin na cuairteanna leisa áil ar an scéal. Ach ní dhéalach Jimmy agus thiocna sé I brísún Ween Show. Ag an am, bhí 7 mbliana le cushion 3 scóraige. Tá Jimmy 7 in I brísún, agus nuair a scaoileadh saoire in aineann na bhí hástacht, dúirt sé go mbeidh sé anuas an sconsa.
We made some progress as such that part of the fence was taken down. We thought then that the matter was put to bed, but as you know only too well, far from it.
Teis gur dúilta Jimmy in í sin ghlacha go thomláin le hairdaithe an chóir le Condé, agus leis an carnán fiálacha a bhí sé tarraingt ar €10,000 a íoc, tríochna sé ar eis sa joy ar íist sa bhliain 2000 agus 2.
Thug na Guardian sin go amán seo agus chuaigh sé ar stailcachris beag na chu an bainte. Mar gur cheap sé go raibh rudaí ag teacht go raibh rudaí imithe chundonis níos múna mar bachóir agus go raibh daoine ag tromlaí ar mar sin. So thuaigh sé ar stailcachris rud a lean gála agus an sin tháinachas ar socuig an tás agam mar bhí cóirleoirí cainsim hénig an am go raibh cóirleoirí gur go láidir idirflé dhéanamh.
Were you happy that he was prepared to go to jail? I mean, he's I'm not saying he's an old man, but he's not a young man, we'll say.
Well, that was his choice. I couldn't figure out for his mind and one thing and the other. And everything was going on at that stage. We didn't know we were coming and going at that time. So.
Ceapan gur duine gaiúnach atá an freisin agus bhíon rud seo a gairíán dá riar céanna rá seisna géirí dá mar sin agus san am céanna bhí bravado baint leis an tambaléir agus cníocham mar tháinig sé maithe san príosún díordanig ar chunas mar a bhí sé agus dúir sé go raibh an bí a go háling.
Curú Jimmy chun an phríosún maiall ar sconsa a bhí 8 troch ar airde. An gapan an cóir le Condé go neacha siad thar fór ina go gníomhaíochtaí sa chás seo.
Well, you see, County Council, I can always talk about Laois County Council, but certainly they don't go over the top at times. They have their laws, and these laws have to be abided by.
But if you have the County Council against you, suppose which your neighbours are not going to work out.
You're not going to work out either way.
County Council which is the
Not the County Council which is all like, and with them and with us, like, and they didn't favour us. The County Council didn't favour us.
If you have them behind you, anyway, that's definitely halfway.
The County Council's point of view will say they have planning laws, and will say, you said it yourself, you built a fence that was too high without planning permission. So would you say you were in the wrong?
I was in my rights.
Did you say, could we not sit down with the neighbours, have a cup of tea and maybe sort it out?
No. We'll come on to comment at that one now, my neighbours.
Well, it's doing on tackle free hornachis, so the racing to know when it's doing holiday. We're going to Mars, just get the cake and the brain when. Rimish na Hamishin, mean tackle look my dear, I bet you a clown one, or a group of Dana one. So you should tell if you should have a talent ten, if you should kiss, could see a talent. A Swiss, a hardy near Horta, you know, your area, and a clear crease talent, with keg around talent. It's too good when you're a straight pre what you follow on it. I was told the brand Thomas in the disputes in the cart. Now we piece of talent with chain follow on it. But this should be like a glom or a bubble, might get to that.
Ceann rudí smú ar a bortach thar na chachar maidide leis an teorainn?
Well, aber mar nach duine cinnte fada cara an tóir nó cara flaat nó fís mar thugtaíon. Béidir mór sé tíomháil deis na tíomháil clé, mar sé teach in bhuiireacht déide an forsta. Tá sin náte hín chloch ar ball spáin agad sin í chloch cheart stoppa a bé go nímach sé héir sin tú go mar sé tractor go gaile. Go honúil bédáid go duine ramór an scireige scrapporta nó drainaporta nó drain an na stripe, Tá ducha sé steach agus an nach láige agus do sé tochaid chéú deile do sé cían tabbar nó tíh tabbar agus nó thucha ná daine de cean dá buí. Bhil ní naomh ná pedar chiúráid go leóráid. Béidir gáimach chuig na daine beidir bhí póte baintop a rééis na deidir seachna mar sin, chonig me ceach leor ionsaíháin dionta sa gantar seo a léirí go rud ach ní bhhain an ionsaíhád. Sé a bhí an ná ceapan spáid póte bhí an níos mó na Rhododendron.
Idir an dálín bhí maire fóspaí glas I brís an bhain seo.
Bhí chulaganna I ddíruair ní bháin an seochar ilan achla ach bhí an tír ar fad I ddíruair. Scéal eisteach a bhí an, cén duine a racha go prísan agus gan balla cosanta nó fíneáil íg nó fáil réile culach, híl gach duine go raibh siad crackáil taken on.
There seemed to be a move afoot to organise some kind of protest, and there was talk of a bus or a coach going to Mountjoy and placards and that kind of thing, and I thought, well, if it escalates to that extent, we're going to have real problems.
Today, the mother of 3 received a visit from her son Tommy and the Achill curate who's been attempting to resolve the dispute.
The situation is quite delicate at the moment, but I'm hopeful there might be a breakthrough later on today. But it's over to the legal experts really, and I wouldn't like to prejudge or preempt anything that they might decide. It was down to the wire, you might say. It was getting late in the evening, and Myra still thought about waiting on and holding on, and then we had decided, well, we'll leave it at that for now. We'll head home again. We'll come back after the weekend. On our way home, we got a phone call to say, come back. She's changed her mind. She's going to sit before the judge again, and we went back into court, the High Court, I remember the 4 courts. And after that, we headed home that night. This was about land and property, and people with having the freedom to build on their land. And in the process, I suppose, looking at maps that were out of date and maps that weren't to any great detail on investigation, Myra would have appeared to have some reason for debate with her neighbours, but just that the law wouldn't have been on her side about this debate. And in the process, she got head up and worked up about it. That the neighbouring family had to put up with her anger, and she expressed it in lots of ways. And was this the reason she went to jail, because her rooster was crowing? No. She went to jail in contempt of a court that ruled against her and her property rights.
Tonight, Mrs. Gallagher was brought to a special sitting of Dublin's Circuit Civil Court, where she once again represented herself. During the hearing, she apologised to Judge Harvey Kenny, who decided to give her some breathing space and ordered her release. Mrs. Gallagher returned to Mountjoy Prison shortly after 6 o'clock. She collected her belongings and then left for Achill Island. The mother of 3 now has until January to comply with the original court order or to reach a new accommodation with her neighbours.
Well, I lived in Achill all my lifetime. He didn't live in Achill. They are both from different... They might be from the county, like, but they're not from Achill.
But would you admit that you did anything wrong yourself?
No, I don't think I've done anything wrong. No.
Even though the law and the judge found you to be guilty?
Well, the law and the judge do whatever he likes. I couldn't tell the judge what to do, and I couldn't tell him he was wrong.
Níor cholaíonn Máire na dúrga sí a chur an brithe mhora, agus bíargar Landal sí reis os córte.
Mrs. Gallagher, who appeared at Galway Circuit Court this morning, was told she had done nothing to resolve the issue since being released from jail 4.5 weeks ago. Judge Kenny said the people of Achill had offered to build the boundary wall, but this had been refused, and Mrs. Gallagher had caused further distress to her neighbours, the Mastersons, by cutting down a tree and increasing the number of her fowls. He said this extension, built by the Gallaghers without planning permission in 1991, was subsequently allowed to be retained on condition that a boundary wall was built, but this hadn't been done. The rooster wasn't the issue, and she knew it, he said. You have thumbed your nose at the legal system and stood contemptuously before the court 3, 4 or 5 times, he said. During today's 15-minute court hearing, Mrs. Gallagher frequently contradicted Judge Kenny. She said anything she had been done on her own land, and she'd appeal the court order if she got free legal aid. Judge Kenny told Mrs. Gallagher she had caused a great deal of offence to the people of Achill by what he described as her antics. He told her she must now either build a wall or appeal against his order. And he warned her that it would be very difficult for her if she hadn't done one or the other by the time she appears before Westport Circuit Court next month.
Dere, hín moire coin túl an na córsan, agus tógu an balla. Ach, más rud gur cheapador gur síl sanna succar in andó banis, gu dul mórub.
Today, Mrs. Gallagher was in Achill Court on 3 charges of harassing her neighbour, Peter Masterson. Garda Tony McCabe said he called to her house on the night of the 3rd of June, following a complaint from Mr. Masterson, who was highly distressed. When he got there, at least 2 radios were playing at full volume on different stations, and a television was also on. Mrs. Gallagher did not give evidence in court, but her solicitor, Aidan Crowley, claimed she had a hearing defect and the radio was very important to her. But Judge Shields said that was an argument which didn't appeal to him at all.
Why did you have the music loud and stuff?
He plays a band, like. And why should I be fined for him and him able to play a band and her able to go out dancing with it? He plays the drums, plays the accordion, plays everything. Why should I be fined for playing an ordinary radio in my own house?
Bhí Clán Masterson cínte gur bí moire a bhí freigrach as brucamus madra a chaha har an balla. Honne na Gardaí súl fí rún chun únear an cacha a ahint. Ach in aion díchil an orsa níor frichu ein ionise cinúnach.
2 charges related to allegations that she deposited dog droppings on Mr. Masterson's driveway. He handed Judge Dan Shields a list of numerous dates on which he says he saw or suspected Mrs. Gallagher of putting the droppings on his property. A Garda watch, however, failed to catch anyone actually depositing the excrement. There was up to a shovelful on occasion, much more than one dog could deposit in passing.
And then he also accused you of throwing the dog droppings.
Sorry?
You know, the dog droppings as well. He accused you of the dog.
No, so he said, yes. Yeah. I had 4 dogs at that time, or 4 I think I had, and then 4 again. So, what could you do? I see dogs everywhere. He said the colour of the rooster was annoying him and different things. And then he came out again and he told me to tie the dog after me coming out of Mountjoy.
Well, it's talk been a long character faoin tír ach go háirithe agus is daoine iad tá siad ina jimpleacht féin ar feadh síl agus breann siad ar an síl ina mealach féin agus ammantí bíonn sé deachar don sochaí nua-aimsire leis an sicóireacht nua ina daoine sin hiiscint agus ceapan gohfuil scilar lethe baint le bheith pléló beidir agus tugann siad seasamh agus ní bhíonn siad sásta seasamh siar bhain seasamh sin ceapan.
Tá séchan ar éis ar an acla ach ní bhris amach gan price, mar is cínta gur oling moire chamála Clán Masterson gohar an esaintir seo. Ní teagháil dá leidir a moire agus na córsan béal doris, agus is dói nach mai go brach.
When you look back now, do you think, should you have done it or would you have done it again?
If I've done them the wrong, I'll do it again, yeah. No problem.
Even though your family probably wished you never did?
Oh, the family wish I never did at that time, but sure it's done now. What can be done about it?
Well, sé teanastán ná bhfuil ten bheón an maidir an mhaoin príomhaideach seo. Má cheann me sin píosa taithún seo. Is lumsan rair chun píosa taithún seo. Is lumsan téir sa píosa taithún seo. Is lumsan torn sa píosa taithún seo. Agus má chunéine isteach bhfuil cearta bell chum. Is dóigh gapan daine sa tír seo gur rud onóracha a bheith treidir san taithún. Mas díta gur sin agus ar muinte rún, gus go murd maithe, cheartúí bheith treidir go taithún maidiara. Gur chuid maidiara gon más tíráí ar cartú, bheach me sásta treidir go taithún. Dóigh bíon bheón atá, is sean bheoní. agus nó seannas an tomatach. Ach tá sé bháidir lína fós mar tá teanna cóch aige agus teanna muidir an muoine a gúnaí chusteachar lína.